do every day around this time, we have this feature called Champion People, where we speak to people that we identify as champions in this space. It's completely aligned to my own vision from Champion South Africa, which is to build South Africa into a champion nation based on this premise of champion people build champion nations. Well, my guest today is someone, certainly people from the Durban region, but around the country, I would expect, would be very familiar with the CEO of Al Baraka, and that's Shabir Chohan. Shabir, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And thank you very much, Ashraf. Ramadan Kareem to you. And it's great
Good.
to once again be speaking to you.
On many platforms. Are you in your office? I look at your Al Baraka logo behind you. Yeah.
I am. Well, we've decided to come into the office at least once a week, just to make sure there's a certain degree of normality. And yes, I am in my office.
Yeah. What is? I mean, I know, and the reason I asked that question is we all know many people have had to work from home, and you have done just that as well. What does Ramadan mean to you? I mean, we wanted to speak to you because we see you as a leader, as a champion in your community, in our community, and we'll talk about that too. But Ramadan in particular, when it comes up every year, how does it resonate? What does it mean to you?
Ashraf, I think it basically just reinforces our spirituality. It reinforces the fact that we need to become better Muslims, to engage in more charity, just and self-reflection. Although I must say, with this whole COVID and being away and working at home and working in office, etc., someone might think that you've got more time available, and unfortunately, you don't. You actually got less time available. I would prefer to actually have the normal issues. I think I probably did more kind of Islamic activities when it was under normal circumstances than when you're working from here. But I think for me, it's a great time to reflect and a great time just to renew some of the issues that were there, but we haven't had time to act on them.
Yeah, and maybe we've been reflecting all throughout the year because I mean that's what COVID lockdown has allowed us to do anyway, right? What now? You're the CEO of Al Baraka. I've introduced you as that, but I mean that's not all you do. I mean, so I'm going to allow you to maybe give me a 1 minute bio of yourself. What are the 3-4 key factors that determine who you are?
Okay, my married, 3 kids. Well, they're all adults at the moment. Hawa Chohan. She's a housewife, was previously involved with the family business. Elder son Muhammad, he is in marketing. The second son Shuaib, there's a middle son, he's an engineer. He's currently in Belgium of all places. And the third son just qualified as a chartered accountant, and he's gone into the family business. For myself, I am a chartered accountant, qualified years ago, wrote the exams in 1987. Spent some time in London with PricewaterhouseCoopers at that stage, came back, worked for the clothing organization, joined Itala, which is a finance corporation based in KwaZulu Finance Corporation, and day after that joined Al Baraka, which has been my position since 2004. That's a background, but I'm involved in a number of organizations, the Ikra Trust, Orphans Waqf Fund, the South African Muslim Charitable Trust. I'm involved with the Zondo and Bucks Educational Fund, as you would know. Ashraf recently joined the Anton Lembede School, which is a new school that's been established in La Mercy. And in that way, just trying to continue playing a role in society. I mean, just for information, I served on governing bodies, and I think I probably got a record. I served 20 years on governing bodies in a stretch when the 3 boys were at various schools, and served as treasurer and chairman, and that was a great experience for me. I think for me it's all about giving. And yes, it's been a very, very busy time in that regard, but I managed to combine it with my professional life and also playing a role in a lot of organizations.
Okay, I'm going to ask you how you in fact managed to combine it, but let's just pause that. The Al Baraka one, of course, defines a lot of what you do, right? So what, you've been the CEO, so you said 2004, right? So it's like almost 2 decades, right?
Well, yeah, probably a long time. I came in initially as a consultant. There were some challenges at that stage with the institution. Came in with another, with MS Park, who was now a director of the bank, or a non-executive director, came to assist with certain projects, and then got appointed. So it's been a relatively long time, I would think. But in that time, managed to achieve quite a lot in terms of the transformation of the organization. And for me, it's been a long time, but I think one of the issues is we've created an organization which is kind of resilient and probably made its mark on the South African business scene.
How do you measure that Al Baraka has made its mark?
I think if you have a look at it, yes, we still got a very small market share compared to the bigger banks, etc. But from a branding perspective, from a social contribution perspective, from gaining new clients, from people aspiring to be here, from the turnover rate of staff, when you have a look at those measures in a very formal manner, we can go across and say, yes, from where we were from 2005 to where we are right now, it is a transformed organization. And a transformed organization, just not in terms of meeting shareholders' expectations, but meeting stakeholders' expectations, whether it's our involvement with the regulatory authorities, whether it's staff members, whether it's government calling us for meetings and saying, listen, we think you're a great player in the community, so please come across, and getting a call from the premier to say, listen, I want you to participate in a certain channel. So the bigger banks are called. At the same time, Al Baraka is also involved. And I think in terms of our values and playing a role with the communities, I think we've also done that extremely well, which is something that's very relevant at this point in time.
And yourself, why are you at Al Baraka? I mean, I understand how it happened, but like, what's the big fix for you to devote a major part of your life with that organization, with that business, in fact? Yeah.
I think, Ashraf, I'm coming from a corporate environment. As I said, working at Coopers and Lybrand, which is now PricewaterhouseCoopers, and going to London and coming back and going to the Itala. These were very, very corporatized organizations. And for me, number one, the organization is very corporate. I think when we're looking at it, we are all just custodians out here. We're looking at preparing it for the next generation of leaders. So that corporatization issue for me appeals to me quite a lot. It's an organization that's got very sound governance principles. We know other organizations have failed in the similar industry. So that's the first aspect. The second aspect is being a Muslim in this environment. It's so much easier to play a role in both regards, from a corporate point of view as well as. But saying that, it's also interacting with a number of other kind of people, and a number of our staff are also non-Muslims, and just the professionalism in which they're contributing to an institution like Al Baraka Bank. For me, I think it's making me even more motivated and more enthusiastic about the organization and its future going forward.
I suppose when you spend almost 2 decades at a company or an organization, then their values and their purpose must align to your purpose, or maybe the other way around. So what then is your purpose, and what has been your purpose in life?
I think the one issue is just to make sure whatever you do, you do it on an ethical basis. You're getting certain values. You've got to make sure people are honest. People are adding value in terms of their own role. People are growing others, making sure that you're creating the future leaders. And in that regard, it's been an exciting journey for myself. So it's not just the job itself, it's also the people dynamics. I think once you come to this stage in position, CEOs, etc., it's to make sure that you're growing others, and it's people dynamics, how you're dealing with people, how you're getting teams together, how you're managing conflicts. And believe me, every organization will have this. And sometimes you spend half your day just addressing people matters. The technical issues, you got people that are doing it, you got staff, and that's all getting addressed. But if someone doesn't have the time to deal with people issues, then they should not be CEOs or people in upper management. So for me, you asked me the question, what's the purpose? The purpose is to actually now grow people. And believe me, we've got a lot of talented people in the organization. I can safely say, if I had to not be at the bank will continue seamlessly. And for me, I think that's been quite a positive issue. From a purpose, making sure that we're growing the next generation of leaders.
Well, absolutely. I want to find out how, in fact, you go about managing with these people issues. I want to know about that. More to come from Shabir Chohan Al Baraka, the CEO of the bank. But there's just so much more to his life. So, an incredibly inspiring South African, certainly someone that I would determine or define as a champion. And that's why he's our guest today. So, he comes up more on him and the people that he deals with after this.
Looking to get your kick? Kiki's have now reopened on 235 Matthews Maiwa Road in Durban. Head on over for the Taste with Kick. We offer something scrumptious for everyone in the family. Wraps, chicken tikka, burgers, tender grills, mocktails, milkshakes, and so much more. Corporate and events catering available. Visit our social media pages for more info or call 031 209 0119. Kiki's, the Taste with Kick.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness. And every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
My Lord, show me right from wrong.
Huda SA is an organization that focuses primarily on assisting communities within the eThekwini region, by collaborating with existing Islamic centers, mosques and madrases. Your contribution goes towards the uplifting of orphans and vulnerable children, including vulnerable families, by assisting with education, welfare, nutrition and maintenance of madrases, mosques and Islamic community centers. Make the difference. Donate to our noble causes. More information is available at huda-int.org, or WhatsApp or call us on 031 271 3049.
My Lord, show me right from wrong. Give me light, make me strong. I know the road is long.
It's been a household name for years. It's been an important ingredient in South African kitchens, and it's been an affordable, healthy choice for your family. Helios. First our pure sunflower cooking oil, and now introducing Helios margarines and spreads. Following the same traditions and tastes you've grown to love and trust from Helios. Fortified with vitamins A, D, and E, also rich in omega-3 and 6 essential fatty acids for a healthy eating lifestyle. Helios margarine and spreads. Available now at all leading South African supermarkets. Helios margarine. The tradition lives on.
This Ramadan, can we still feel the heartbreak, the grief, the pain? Islamic Relief needs you to keep feeling, because we believers are like one body. When any part aches, the whole body aches. Feel their pain. From just 450 Rand, you can ease their pain this Ramadan. Donate now to Islamic Relief. Visit www.islamic-relief.org.za.
Mornings with Ashraf Gada. Connect on Twitter at Ashraf Gada.
With me is Shabir Chohan, the CEO of Al Baraka, and in fact, he's featured as one of our champion people. So, Shabir, let's talk about the people. You said, so much of what you do is just dealing with people, and I think, that reflects the way the world works. That you have to invest in people. So, how then, share with us your leadership principles in dealing with people.
Ashraf, we've got about 300 people at the bank. But if you have a look at direct reports to myself, there's probably, direct or indirect, with the key exec GM is about 10 people. I think one of the major issues is open communication. As soon as that doesn't happen, and people will say that, listen, Shabir, you have too many meetings, but for me, it's to gauge the climate, or like a dipstick approach, to have meetings with people, to understand how do they come for any issues that's discussed. You can pick up very quickly stress levels, you can pick up anxieties, you can pick up issues which are having a major impact on them. So for me, communication is extremely important, and that must happen on a regular basis. So that I think we're doing quite well.
And therefore, you carry on. Sorry, go ahead.
The second issue is consistency of decisions. So sometimes it's quite easy to be making decisions based on different people asking for things. But something that I've kind of followed is just be consistent with your decision making. If you do something, yes, there'll be circumstances which are incorrect and or will be different, and therefore you need to make different decisions. But as soon as you start making one decision for this person, another decision for that, that comes back and kind of bites you. So I think those are two issues. And the third issue is just be very proactive. Anticipate kind of aspects, making sure that we working way ahead. Because in this hurly-burly world, and especially the anxieties that come in from working from different locations, I mean, I haven't seen some of the people for a year. That's physically, other than on video conferences and everything else. So is making sure that we're all proactive and using tools and mechanisms and using Microsoft Planner and all those kind of things to make sure that people are kept informed. And I must say, it's worked quite well, even if those principles are there, even in the COVID working from home kind of area, it works quite well in that.
Good. I mean, so I mean, you are aware that I drive a project or a movement called Champion South Africa, and I mean the key phrase we use is champion people build champion nations. So that's consistent with what you're saying, right? But therefore, do you agree with that the link between turning the people in your corporation to become champions in the business will turn the business into a champion business?
I agree 100%, Ashraf, and I think you've played a significant role with regard to this. Incidentally, if I may just add, I think speaking to you out here, I know the last time I was interviewed by yourself on your previous radio station, which was SABC, and I think you're bringing back a lot of memories in that regard, and I just wish I had the power to kind of, not at the expense of Salam Media, obviously, but to have got you back into SABC. If I was somewhere out there, definitely, Ashraf, you would have gone in there. But I think the point that you raise is the fact that we got to play a role, especially in the leadership side. It's not champions just in the business. It's champions with your people, champions in the community, playing a role, etc. I mean, we've been involved in so many initiatives that one of our objectives from our performance development plan, so when we assess people, is how have you contributed to the community? And we give people a rating of 1 to 5 in terms of nothing to we've done exceptionally well. And a 3 is between. And then people get marked down in the organization if they're not contributing to some social project. And for me, that's exactly the kind of attitude and approach that we want to have. And I think we're probably unique, or I'm sure other organizations are doing it, but that's something.
Well, I tell you, I mean, on the one hand, that's fascinating because it's brilliant. But can it ever be construed as unfair labor practice? Because in fact, it's got nothing to do with their work at work.
I think it's got everything to do with our values. One of our values is social contribution and to get involved in the communities and making a difference in those communities. So if anyone comes across and says, sorry, I don't think this is in my job description, and it's not that we want them to give their personal time to such a significant amount. It's small things. Whether we contributing to a sandwich distribution program, which is just about 1 kilometer down the road, that was every Thursday at one stage, and we're asking staff. So there were some people that could not do it. I said, listen, go across and just go play a role for half an hour during work time to kind of contribute to that. But what we're trying to do is to get the values of the organization instilled. And for me, I can argue very, very strongly that it's not unfair labor practice. It's what Al Baraka is about, and therefore you should be doing it. And if you're not doing it, then just look at your involvement in getting involved in an organization like Al Baraka Bank.
Yeah. What about yourself growing up? I mean, so you're a CA. That means you've obviously got your discipline of studying, right, to become a CA in the first place, right, and then staying the course, right. If you go back to your early days in school, what was there a moment that you can reflect on that marked you on this path? That once you followed that journey, that led you on this path of success? Was there a moment?
I think like most of us, probably family businesses that played such an integral role, because as soon as you finished off school, you probably came into the family business in afternoons, over weekends, definitely. you were doing deliveries, you're going across, you're playing the role, sitting at the supper table, the family is talking about businesses, you're picking up issues from there. I think I might have shared this with you previously. I'm in standard 6 or grade 8 now. I think from standard 6, my dad had a lot of shares in listed companies, not big amounts. And I remember reading financial statements in standard 6 from cover to cover. And I think that really inspired me to become a chartered accountant and to kind of go across and say, I want to get into accounting. Although the issue was, don't you want to become a doctor? And from that point in time, I think that molded me to become a chartered accountant. But more importantly, some of the disciplines in terms of staying the course and getting things completed, etc., was what came out from a training. But a significant amount, I would think, has come from involvement in the family business.
Yeah. Now, I often speak about, what I call lobby for one, where someone speaks on your behalf when you are absent and backs you up, right? Has that happened to you where somebody has lobbied for you and even go on your journey and you can see the results of that now?
Is it you're talking about at work? There's someone in
Well, it could be work and career where as you're growing up and you sort of trying to get into into different businesses, someone spoke on your behalf without you even asking them, and that just opened up doors for you.
I think probably after I became a chartered accountant, when I was working for a very well-known clothing company, that's a Banco group, and they obviously restructured, and at that point in time, other opportunities that have come across. The KwaZulu Finance Corporation was a big organization, 1,000 people in there, had about 10 executives leading with government and everything else. And they were looking for a chief financial officer. I'm 30 years old. And I come across and I get a call from a headhunter to say, Shabir, I need you to come for this interview. And that call initially came to a person by the name of Hussein Umar, who's the managing partner of quite a big practice in Durban, the Christian group. And he said, no, I'm not interested. Go to another person. That other person came to me. And at 30, I was appointed the chief financial officer of the Itala Development Finance Corporation of the KFC.
Wow.
So I must actually pay tribute to him, because if it wasn't through him, I wouldn't have gone across and got involvement in banking and got involved with government and hence at Baraka Bank. So I think he's played a significant role. I mean, the other cliche in terms of your parents and everything, I think that's very important. I have mentioned that. But Hussein Umar has played quite a significant role for where I am.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you've done that. I think it's very important, right? You also mentioned, the different boards you're involved in and the governing bodies. So what's been your trick of managing yourself?
Ashraf, it's been extremely difficult from a time point of view. There's no doubt about it. The other day, someone asked me, I was involved in a school in Ikopo through the bank, the Sunuguso school. And the principal came across and said, Shabir came to the school. It's about 200 Ks outside Durban. So when we travel there often, it's like the whole day is gone. And he gave a speech once. He said, I asked Shabir the same question that Ashraf, you asking me. And Shabir said, if you want to do something, give it to a busy person because they know how to manage it. And for me, I think that has played a role. I mean, there's projects coming across every single day, but you can delegate, you monitor appropriately, you get involved. Yes, it does come at a sacrifice to your family life. There's no doubt that's in there. But it's all about playing a role as far as that is concerned. So to me, I think it's a prioritization issue. If there's something that is really, really close to my heart, even if it's another charitable kind of aspect, I will get involved and try to cut down. But then you have people that are involved. I probably never kind of mentioned that I'm also the chairman of the Association of Muslim Accountants and Lawyers. But you've got a fantastic team behind me. You've got more experienced lawyers and accountants that are in there. And maybe I'm just the kind of figurehead at this point in time. But I think when you're getting involved in organizations, you've got to have a look at the people involved, their commitment before you get committed. Otherwise, a significant amount of issues will come back to yourself.
Absolutely,
hence, I've been successful with that.
Well, there you are. I mean, you mentioned you're on the board of the Zondo Bucks Education Trust. You can give me the right title here. Why is that important? How did that come about?
When Judge Zondo got appointed onto the bench or the Constitution Court, a lady by the name of Zuleika Mayat, or the Indian Delights famous person, she called me and said, Shabir, I think we should honor Judge Zondo and the late Solly Bucks. And I said, Mrs. Mayat, or Dr. Mayat, I don't even know. She said, don't worry, I'll get my son Aslam to write a letter to him and invite him. We invited him, he came across. We had a function for Judge Zondo and Solly Bucks in 2018. They came across to the bank. We had a function on Saturday for about 120 people, mainly in the legal fraternity, but community people, and we honored them. At that meeting, I turned to the judge and I said, Judge, we're having this function. Thank you very much for joining. But if you don't do something in terms of going forward, it will be like an event that's lost. I said, I want to create something, and I thought of the name Zondo and Bucks Educational Trust. He said, no, Shabir, you can go ahead, because at that stage I wanted to contribute. So the first, when the dinner got completed, I put my hand up and said, listen, we're creating the Zondo and Bucks Educational Trust. This is not a fundraising event, but I'm putting 20,000 in from the bank side. The next hand that went up was Judge Zondo, and then Solly Bucks came in, and we collected something like 300,000 rands that evening. Wow. And it was all about making a difference to education. And we went across and we played a role at the school where the judge attended near High Flats, that's near Mzinto. We renovated his original school through the trust that we were not too involved, but also in mobilizing funding from other organizations. We went to the high school, and we're still involved in that high school, Amazabeko High School in High Flats, Imazabekweni. We sponsored a student. We currently try to sponsor one student that did not get NSFAS funding, but kind of luckily NSFAS came across. It's a lawyer, and we'll keep a role in that. And I think the role is educational. The success of our country is going to be on making sure we're providing education. Government has done a terrible job, and especially you go to the rural schools, and hence I think the education side is something that we have to get involved. And Judge Zondo, who's engaged with him quite frequently via the trust, he's passionate about this. He takes calls to make sure that we're advancing this basis, and hopefully he wants to play a bigger role as his kind of career moves along.
Absolutely. I think people, and it's a fascinating story. People needs to understand the Bucks behind the Bucks Zondo combination, about how the Bucks part helped the Zondo, and now the Zondos played it forward. That clip when he was being interviewed for the Constitutional Court is a remarkable moment in life, and it just shows you how important it is. We're going to wrap up, Shabir, with maybe just one last thought. There are people, watching us, people listening, and for many people, they're in the midst of, there's a sense of hopelessness about how they feel about so many things, right? What is the one bit of advice you can give people, whether they're struggling in personal life, whether it's in business where people are unemployed, where the revenues have shrunk, indecision? I mean, Cape Town, there's anxiety there as well. Give me one practical thing that you can direct it to someone.
I think we got to have hope for the future. There's a lot of people being very despondent, and people want to move overseas. And we're living in a great country. When I speak to our chairman, who's based in Bahrain, he said, Shabir, you've got a country, you don't know how you're living in a place which you guys are not marketing very well. You've got a country which in the Middle East, we will most likely swap to come across. You've got natural beauty out there. Yes, we've got a significant amount of challenges, from corruption in the country, there's despondency, there's poverty, there's people out of jobs, etc. But for me, I think there's a lot of people that are playing a very positive role, and we can take this country forward. We can get involved. The small things that we do is going to make a difference in people's lives. I'm very committed to this. It's not your aptitude, but your attitude that depends your altitude. So as you move up, not just from a work point of view, just have the correct attitude in what you're doing. If you're going to keep on coming across and get yourself into negativity and blame the government and blame work and blame your boss or blame the religious leaders because they take one view that's not consistent with yours, I don't think that's going to help out in terms of it. So for me, it's the attitude that you have, and to make sure that you're positive. It's easy to say that, but you've got to act on that on a regular basis. It comes with some difficulty sometimes, but I think if you embrace that, we will play a meaningful role in growing our country, growing our community, and also growing ourselves in this beautiful country of South Africa.
And I think your example of how that event with Chief Justice Zondo, how that raised 300,000 to start, is just on a woman of fancy, just shows you the the power of creating impact, and you've just done that. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll leave it at that. It's been a privilege, obviously, connecting with you. You've been a great supporter of the things that I do, and we're delighted to therefore speak to you under this banner of, champion people, and that's why you've been my guest. So thank you for your time. Even more success for yourself, for Al Baraka, and for the people that you lead and the people that you inspire as well.
Ashraf, thank you very much. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. And I think Salam Media is doing an excellent job. And inshallah, may the station grow from strength to strength. And we will definitely, we always supported it, and we'll definitely play a role in supporting Salam Media for the excellent work. And well done on your role in this show.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Kind words, and we need to copy and paste that last bit as well. Shabir Chohan, get back to work. I know it's a busy Monday for you, so I appreciate you giving up your time. You have lots of meetings to attend to, I'm sure about that. Thank you for your time. There you are, the CEO of Assalamu Alaikum, the CEO of Al Baraka. There we are, Shabir Chohan. Look out for that. In fact, we've got interviews of all the others we've done. Check it out on YouTube, on Facebook, as well as on Twitter, and there's sound as well. So look out for that. Just two things I want to tell you for today as we wrap up, right? One is Zubaydah Jaffer is Julie Ali's guest after 11. Do not miss that. And then we asked you about the differences between Kheer and Boober and Badam milk. Well, let's end by saying here's one comment.
Ramadan in Cape Town is a beautiful, beautiful experience. Especially went down a few years ago, and I just loved every bit of it. From the zikrs every Sundays with the women, the Taraweeh, and just the aura around Cape Town is just magical during the month of Ramadan. This is Zaybun Mutala calling. Shukran. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Okay, well, there you are. That's the show. Great that you've sent those WhatsApps. Send them coming as well. We'll do it again tomorrow. So coming up next, there's Juz 7 of the Holy Quran by Sheikh Yasin Al-Dosari. From me and the team, until tomorrow, Assalamu alaikum.